Okay, so let's start with this topic. And you might feel with this topic that you have already studied it. So remember the case where we discussed about the dictionary. So they're a great example of what we're going to study here, the generics. So you got a lot of freedom with the dictionary, like you can create your keys and values, and you can assign anything as a keys, like in the strings you can assign doubles or integers or whatever you wish to have. And similarly to that, you can actually create arrays with any values in it. Like it can be a set of integers, all integers, it can be a set of all strings, or it can be a set of all double values. So this does solve a lot of problem. It makes things a little bit more generic, and that's why they call this topic as generic. So imagine the problem where we created a usual function for swapping the integers. So let's say we are trying to swap two integers. That's why we created that function in one of the previous movie. I hope you do remember that. And in case you want to swap two doubles, you will be creating a new function again. And in case you want to swap two strings, you have to actually swap that again and write a different function for that again. But let me bring it up my playground here and let's see this. So this is the function which we have already created. This is a swap ints, and what it does, it takes a, and again in out is required because it's a swapping, it cannot be done without it. And we are just providing a data type here, like integers here, and what it does, it swaps them. Pretty good. And here we can see the value 1 is 2, value 2 is 3. Swaps are working really good with the help of ampersand sign, and 3 and 2 are being reversed. But this creates a problem. It allows us, or it does a forcefully things with us, and it forces us to create more functions like swapping strings, swapping doubles and things like that. But we can actually get rid of that using generics. So generics can be applied to pretty much anywhere. In this case, we are applying it to the functions. So we are just saying that my function name is going to be this time as swap anything, and you just apply these two angular brackets out there, and these two angular brackets are representative of generics, and inside that you can place any variable out there. Now this variable actually is generic. It doesn't have a data type, it can be anything. So that's why we are saying that my a is gonna be of type T, which is just generic, it can be anything. And similarly our b is gonna be T here as well. And thereafter we just write exactly the same logic. This is just a data type, it's a generic data type, and we are trying to, I'll talk about these two lines later on. And we can see that it works really good for the integers, H, I, J, K, L, M, so all alphabets are being used. 2 and 3, we use swap anything, it just swaps it to 3 and 2. For the string, it works really like a charm, swipes G and key to again key and J, and for the doubles as well, 2.2 and 3.2 are being swapped as well. So this is how the generic works. Again, just these two angular brackets are out here. Now one more problem that I would like to address here is the scope. Now if you're new to the programming, you might be wondering that we are getting a temp here, we are defining a temp again here. And why is that? Because if we do it anywhere outside the function, it does create a problem for us, it does give a runtime error. Now let me tell you this, that whenever you are defining anything inside a function, has a scope inside the function only, it's not available outside the function. So that's why it says now temp is having a value a, and here is also temp is having a value a. So program is not confused because you are defining two temps, because the scope or the availability of this temp is limited till the line 5 to 7 only, and it's not available outside. And that is the reason why I have defined temp as 111 here, because when you do see the temp here as this, like this, it's just like that. And just to clear up the things more, let's just say var s is equals to let's just say 3. So the value of the s is now 3. Now it's prompting us a simple error, it's just saying that s was never used, but okay, let's just be fine with that. And with a couple of things, if I define var s again here and define it as 4, now inside the function the value of the s is 4, but globally means available to all, the value of the s is 4. And again, the priority depends where you're using it. If you're using outside, the priority will be given to the global. If you're using inside, the priority will be given to the function. Let me clear that up. If I use a print out here and just try to print out the s value here and try to run this function again, it's simply gonna be printing a 3 here. But again, let's not confuse the things. The whole story here is that the scope or the availability of the variables are limited. If you define it outside in just a global scope, it's available everywhere. If you define it inside a function, it's just limited to that particular function only. Okay, so we have covered up two things: the generics, which is a general data type, and we have also covered the scope rules.